Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Nate Atala. I am the business manager for Extreme Networks here at D&H Distributing, and we really appreciate everyone taking time out of their schedule to join us today to learn a little bit more about Extreme Networks. I have some of my esteemed colleagues and friends joining us today from Extreme Networks, Jerry McGuire, Chris Dagney, and Alan Lee, and they're going to walk you through a little bit about Extreme Networks as a whole, a little bit about some of the technical advantages of Extreme Networks, and then likewise, Alan at the end here is going to expand upon the services offering and why that's so important and beneficial for all of you, and how you can use that to help achieve additional success in your business. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A box and we'll try to respond to them. We also will have time at the end of the webcast for Q&A that we can have more discussion, particularly if there's any topics that you need expansion upon or have a specific interest on. And then likewise, even after the webcast, feel free to reach out to any of us for any needs at any time at extremenetworks@dnh.com. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jerry to get started.
Hey, Nate, thanks a lot. Yeah, and so, as Nate said, Jerry McGuire, I am the distribution partner account manager here with Extreme Networks, covering D&H. And, we're really excited to help you guys understand a little bit about Extreme Networks. And as you see here, this is, I got the easy part. I got one slide here, and it's just helping you guys understand a little bit about us if you're not familiar with Extreme Networks. So we've been around since 1996. We do a little over $1.3 billion in annual revenue with over 3,000 employees. You'll hear a lot of our senior leadership say, we're big enough to matter, but small enough to care. And I definitely think that's true. And you'll see on here, and as Alan, I don't want to steal a lot of his thunder, you're going to see a lot of other well-known names out there of organizations that we deal with today. But I'm specifically calling out the NHL, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. One, because I'm a huge sports fan. But number two, this really builds credibility with Extreme Networks. Let's be frank, these organizations have the dollars to really, and the expertise to pick any solution out there that they wanted to, and they decided to go with Extreme Networks. And really, it's our combination of the data analytics and what we could do from a networking and a connectivity standpoint that really drives that game day experience. That not only you're seeing that in the sports stadiums, but right, everything is turning into that where it's an experience now. And Chris, once he gets into some of his parts, Chris Dagney, he'll get into a little bit of those details. Hey, look, every vendor tells you how great they are, but it's good to hear from other customers and see what other people are saying, as well as the industry itself. So you'll notice a couple of those bullet points there where it says, Gartner, we've been recognized 6 times from a peer insight standpoint, as well as Gartner themselves in the Magic Quadrant for wired and wireless. So, that's really important, right? Gartner's out there and they're really well known. And it builds credibility that Extreme is delivering those types of solutions that are going to be that you and your customers are looking for. I don't want you to walk away from this thinking, oh man, Extreme Networks is just an enterprise play. That's not at all. We deliver solutions for SMB to MSP organizations all across up to enterprise. We're there to support you in any way that we can. And then the last thing is, and Alan will touch on this more, we're 100% GTAC insourced from a GTAC perspective. So unfortunately, if something does happen, it's as good of experience as that you really would want. So we're really excited to have you sit here and listen a little bit more about Extreme Networks. I'm going to turn it over to Chris Dagney to get a little bit into some product stuff, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Jerry. Great job. Yeah, I'm Chris Dagney. I'm the distribution engineer that trains our distribution engineering team to make sure that you as a partner are fully helped and got all the solutions that you need. And I've been in the channel for 25 years, only doing networking, and I've been doing Extreme for the last 5 years. So I've seen a lot of things out there, and I've worked with a lot of partners and helping partners like you understand the Extreme solution. And so I've got a little bit of time here to kind of try and cover our entire solutions, but really, why should you become a partner with Extreme Networks? And really what makes us unique? We're driving innovation in the market, and this will help you win the business. Just look at the list of our firsts. We are first in universal hardware, meaning that you or the distributor only needs to purchase one AP or switch for multiple different operating systems. It's like getting a cell phone and be able to run Android or iOS. We are the first with simple universal licensing. One license to rule them all. Are you or your end users confused for other vendors licensing? I mean, it can get really complex. We were the first in Wi-Fi 6, 6E, 7. We're the first with cloud with multiple security off certifications. As most vendors, I mean, they rely on the cloud provider to provide those security certifications. We open up our code to third-party auditing. Our cloud is the only option that you can do AWS, Google, Azure, cloud, and even on-prem. We have the industry's only fabric. And what is a fabric? It's a collection of switches acting like one. Other vendors need one for the data center, they need it for the campus. And every time I show the fabric to network engineers, even CCIEs, it kind of blows their mind. Now with Universal ZTNA as our latest product, it's a simple step to zero trust for network and application control for the users, whether they're remote or on-site. And our solutions range from budget models, which we have several Wi-Fi 6 APs at D&H at 80% off, all the way up to 5G, MSP gear, data center gear. And they're all designed to work with each other. And even our Cloud IQ site engine can manage third-party networking vendors. And I've even had some customers tell me that it does a better job than the other vendors. So let D&H and Extreme find a solution that can meet your customer needs. So coming soon to a theater near you, around the July timeframe this year, we'll release Platform One. I mean, it's the most exciting thing that I've seen in a while. I mean, like I said, I've been doing networking for 25 years, and this is really going to take all our solutions and bring them into one single platform where you can log in and you can seamlessly manage your wired, wireless hardware, your SD-WAN, and for the first time, you'll be able to enjoy full fabric support from the cloud. You'll be able to, one click, be it managing your SD-WAN, even ecosystem partners, into a powerful management tool, and it's going to be groundbreaking in the industry. It's built with AI first, right? Extreme Platform One it includes AI Expert in the base license. And AI Expert, we co-developed this with Microsoft and Intel, and there's going to be support for those third-party ecosystems devices in our cloud. It turns work into minutes that used to take hours, and it operates in 3 modes. First, you've got conversational mode, where this not only answers the questions in a natural language, multiple languages in multiple different countries. It also helps with planning, configuring, and fixing issues. It can be generating reports and even set up advanced services. It's got an interactive mode, which it can engage engagement and data and provide insights and customize. You have always on dashboards. And autonomous agents, the third mode, it can do complex tasks independently or with minimal human intervention. I mean, my belief is we're going to be the clear leader in AI networking solutions. So please watch the video and the document sections to see more.
Yeah, Chris, and I know you had that slide up there for a second, and you know, that word simple, right? I mean, we're trying to simplify networking, and that's not always the easiest. But, you know, I've been in this industry a long time as well. And, you know, more and more people, what they're looking for, right? They're struggling with time, budget, and resources. And they're looking for something, especially around the networking space, that's going to simplify their lives. And that's what I think, you know, we're really doing here at Extreme Network. So appreciate that. Chris, how about this real quick before you turn over to Alan? You know, for the folks that are familiar with Extreme Networks, they've been hearing Extreme Cloud IQ for years. And now you're talking about Platform One. You know, give them like 2 or 3 bullet points of, you know, what are some of the main differentiations or some of the main benefits that they would see?
Yeah, I mean, so Extreme Cloud IQ, one of the reasons why I came over to Extreme, I mean, it just made it simpler to manage. I mean, I've been doing networking for years, and the old CLI and copying text and writing scripts and stuff like that, you know, it's just old school, right? XIQ or Cloud IQ has been focused on network management. Extreme Platform One expands on these capabilities, and it gives you much better workflows across. It's also going to do networking, security, inventory management, and it's also going to bring the NetOps team, the secure op teams, and even the business teams all together, and they'll be able to have different interfaces and looks depending on their job title. And I think that's what's key, so that they only see what they need to. It'll do a million things, but you can customize it to focus in on what it's important to you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Hmm?
Moving on.
So we're going to pass it over to...
Yes. Hey, thanks, Chris. Great job. So I'm here to talk to you about Extreme Network Services. Again, Alan Lee, Senior Client Executive for Extreme. When you think about services, and as Chris and Jerry stated, we've all been doing this a long time. I've actually watched the evolution of services where it became the add-on to now the critical component of any deal structure. And so when you guys are looking at your customer base, the things that they want to know is, how are you going to help us innovate? How are you going to help us grow? How are you going to help us with this complex technology? And that's where Extreme Services really comes in, and we can help support you and augment your services and your structures and your go-to-market strategies to help these customers be successful. So we're easy to deploy, maintain, and support. With technologies changing, there's not a day that we go anymore without hearing AI. We bridge existing technologies with new technologies. When you think about getting the biggest bang for your buck, realizing the maximum value for the investment, this technology stuff is not cheap, right? So customers are constantly looking for, how do we get more value for the spend? I used to hear about the 5 nines. Just last week, I heard 6 nines. What is that about? Minimizing downtime. Customers want their networks to be up 99.9999% of the time. There's no room for outages anymore. And as you've seen it on the news, outages cost a lot of money and cause a lot of problems for our customers. As Jerry kind of highlighted, a little bit about Extreme. We play in all the industries: government, education, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, sports and venues, transportation. You can look at the slide and recognize names. To Jerry's point, we work with enterprise customers, but we also work with small and medium business customers as well. Whether it's FedEx or Major League Baseball, we just came off the Super Bowl, so everybody's been talking about the NFL. NASCAR, you just saw Daytona 500 yesterday. Probably saw Ryan Preece's wheelie on that car. Kroger, Samsung, these are customers that we all know, right? So the next time you get a package delivered to your house, you can think about Extreme Networks. The next time you go to a sporting event and you're enjoying the fan experience through your phone or whatever the technology that's being shared there, you can think about Extreme Networks. We are here working with these customers, and our services are supporting these customers to help them be successful, and we can do that along with you. So the services portfolio, it's comprehensive, and a lot of times it's hard to fully understand, what do we offer? So let's just kind of slow it down. Number one, maintenance and support. You're very familiar with break fix. Something goes wrong, you call into the GTAC, the Global Technical Assistance Center. We support the case. Premier Services, that is where we become more of a proactive engaged service. And I'll go into this in more detail, but Premier Services, I like to say shoulder to shoulder. This is where we partner with you and we work together with the customer to really drive some of their business initiatives. Professional services. I know partners, sometimes they cross their arms here, right? Because this is where you guys are strong. A lot of the services that you offer are in professional services. And I'll talk a little bit about how we can augment that, or how you can go for additional opportunities that maybe you don't have the resources to do now, but with the partnership of Extreme, you could. Managed services. Managed services. Customers are looking for a different engagement nowadays. Some customers want Extreme and the partner community to manage their networks for them, and we're able to do that. Then you think about consumption models. What is that? That's a fancy word for saying, how do we procure all this? How do we procure the products and the services? We have Extreme Capital. D&H has also various offers that they can provide in conjunction with whatever you provide to make sure that a customer, whether it's a CapEx or an OpEx need, we can flex in a way to make sure that we drive and are able to provide some kind of solution, some kind of comprehensive solution where the customer can act now. A lot of times customers understand the value, they understand the need, but they might not have the resources. And so with our flexible consumption models, we're able to provide some kind of opportunity to move forward.
Hey, Alan, real quick, bud. So two things. One, so for a lot of the folks on the call, I assume, right, professional services is their bread and butter, right, where they're making, most of their profitability, which is important to us and to them, quite frankly. So, if that's kind of where they're living and making most of their money, why would they still work with us, right? I mean, we're not trying to compete with them. I just want to make sure, right, that they feel comfortable in knowing that piece. We're there to support them if they need it, is where I'm going.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. Yeah, professional services has always been the bread and butter for our partner community. And at first glance, it could look like a competition. It's not. It's not intended to be. It's intended to augment the offerings that you provide. So if you have an expertise in one area, but not in another area, you might say, hey, we're going to do this part, Extreme, you do this part. We will meet with you and go through the whole structure of the opportunity to figure out what makes sense, and it will actually drive the customer to a successful place. Also, you look at it in a strategic way. Jerry, there might be an opportunity where you have an East Coast partner who says, hey, there's an opportunity on the West Coast that we're aware of. We just don't have the resources or the time to go after it. But if we had, an extension, Extreme Networks, to work with us, we could go after that opportunity. So we allow, when the partnership is done correctly, we're able to allow you guys to go after opportunities or grow your business faster.
Hey, Alan, sorry. I love this conversation here. So, really, don't we also allow folks to kind of shadow, right, if they are utilizing our professional services and really learn, directly from the folks that know Extreme Networks already today or in a specific area?
Absolutely. I often tell people, when done right, you can't tell who's the partner, who's Extreme. It's a group of people surrounding a customer, driving a solution for the customer's benefit. And so with that, you can absolutely learn from some of our experts. Professional services, these people have 14 years of industry expertise, 10 years of Extreme expertise. They have all the certifications. They have access to all of the smartest people we have within the building, within the company. And so some of the feedback we get from the partner community, Jerry, is just that. A lot of value came from just, learning from some of the teammates in professional services.
Awesome. Hey, Alan, one more thing, just because I see a question in here in the Q&A. So Rodney asked, if there are specific services that we offer for hospitals. I don't know if there's something specific or just a general statement there, but I want to make sure we could get that addressed for him.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in the healthcare space, and yes, we have the ability to work through some of the, requirements that are in healthcare, some of the certifications, et cetera. So yes, absolutely, we do support the healthcare vertical. We have lots of healthcare customers that we can point our partners to for, some kind of customer reference. So yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
So ExtremeWorks, I mentioned that on the previous slide. ExtremeWorks is the brand name for our, as we all know it, break fix solution. This is where you get 24/7, 365 remote technical assistance. You get software updates and upgrades. You get hardware replacement, and we have various options, whether it's next business day, 4 hours, on-site, depending on the customer need, depending on the partner need, we can adjust as the customer dictates. You get access into, as I just mentioned, all the experts, all the smart people at Extreme. A lot of customers and partners like to look at our online documentation and look at the support tools that we offer so that they can kind of diagnose or work things out on their own. And we have a strong global coverage. So we are a worldwide company and have customers across the globe. I mentioned this briefly. Here's a slide that just talks about the different options of ExtremeWorks. So you can have 24/7, 365 e-support, next business day, 4 hours, or on-site. And this is just a graphical slide to just let you know Again, we're open every day, all day. We understand the importance of our customer networks. We understand the importance of supporting you. And if you ever need us, we're here to support any kind of case that you may open. Premier services. I get kind of excited when we start talking about premier services, because this is where Extreme really gets to show kind of how committed we are to your success as a partner or to the customer success. The easiest way to think of premier services is it is Extreme Works. So everything I just mentioned, 24/7, 365, online or call-in support, GTAC support, hardware replacement, software upgrades, all of that is included. But in addition to that, you get proactive support. So wouldn't it be nice to not have an outage because an Extreme network engineer found an outage or found an issue before the outage occurs? This is what we do. One of the things I like to tell our customers is it's an evolution. A lot of times a customer might start with Extreme Networks as they find that their networking needs are more important or more critical, or they want to get to that 5 or 6, 9 rating. They say, hey, we need a different level of support. And that's where Premier Services comes in. So you get priority case queuing. You have a Premier Delivery Manager. The nice thing about that is you have somebody that is always monitoring your cases to make sure that whatever it is that you need is immediately addressed. We go into a formal process where we sit down and we do quarterly business reviews. We try to understand what are your business initiatives. So as a partner, we work with you to go to the customer and we say, okay, what is important to this customer? What are they trying to do over the next 90 days, 12 months, 5 years? And how do we align our services to support and drive that? And so, Premier Services is another level above Extreme Works. Extreme Works is included in it. But one of the things I love to tell people, and it's a fact, we have a 95% renewal rate on Premier customers. So as customers move from Extreme Works to Premier, a year down the road, they say, we absolutely saw the value. We saw how you were able to help us with different kinds of network and strategies that we wanted to deploy. We were able to see how you were able to prevent outages from even occurring. Sometimes I've even had feedback like, we don't know that the service is worth paying for. We haven't had any issues. And then we can go back and say, here's all the data that shows, because everything we do is documented. So we can show you, a New York City phone book worth of data on the things that we did in partnership with you on behalf of the customer that says, this is why we were able to provide value. So we can assist with moves, adds, changes, planning. The best thing about Premier Service is it's flexible. I don't think there's two customers that have the exact same setup with Extreme when it comes to Premier, because we really take the time with the Premier Delivery Manager, with the partner, and with the customer, and we sit around the table and we go, okay, let's really understand who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, and how we can best support you. And that means at some point, we got to adjust the service in a manner that really speaks to what's important to you. And then finally, we do L1 and L2 support. We do root cause and fault cause analysis. When I tell you that this is where we really show up sharp, this is where customers really understand that we're committed. When you look at a Premier Service customer, every executive at Extreme Networks is aware of our Premier Services customers. Our partners love this. To Jerry, to your question before, even about professional services, it applies with Premier as well, because our partners are also involved in a way that they are seeing value, and it's helping them grow their business as well. We have a follow the sun model. Again, just really emphasizing we are a global company, 24/7, 365, no days off. To Jerry's point earlier, we're 100% in-sourced. I won't tell you how many years I've been doing this, but it's been a couple decades plus. And I've never seen a company that I'm aware of that's 100% in-sourced. So everyone that's taking these calls is an Extreme badge employee. Why is that important? It's because we are very committed to your success. Your success is the partner success. Your success is the customer success. And of course, we're doing this in partnership with D&H. What makes us different? 99% on-time delivery performance. That's almost impossible to even, wrap your head around. I know I'm not 99% on time anywhere, but somehow we are able to get our RMAs on time, whether it's next business day or 4 hours. And if you're a premier delivery customer or premier customer, we can tell you if we're late, why. We can say, hey, we got there 4 hours and 10 minutes because there was a traffic signal missignaling on Main Street. I mentioned earlier the amount of experience that our professional service engineers have. 10 years of extreme, 14 years of industry. That's incredible. And this one, which is my favorite, when you look at when a customer calls in to the GTAC, to the Global Technical Assistance Center, they're not calling just to say hello. They're calling because there's an issue or there's some type of question they have. To close that case out and give us a 9.5 out of 10 is incredible. The industry is somewhere around 8.5. So a 9.5 CSAT score, customer sat score on 10, you can't beat that. Of course, we're going to strive for better, but it really tells you as a partner that you're teaming with experts. You're teaming with people who are committed. You're teaming with people who are creative and flexible. And all we're going to do is help you win more business and help you grow your business as much as we can. Professional services, to go back here a little bit. Plan, design, optimize, implement. We've all seen this slide, this graph. We do it all, whether it's consultation, site readiness. And I tell you, partners right now are probably looking at this going, this is, again, to your point, Jerry, this is what we do. And again, we are here to work and partner with you. We will not compete with you. If you find that we're competing with you, tell us and we'll step back. Our goal is to help you win business, to help you drive success within your customers, and for us to be able to go after more business. When done right, we can both grow and go after more opportunities. One of the best parts of professional service, to your point earlier, is the knowledge transfer. A lot of our partners really spend a lot of time, even the customers. I met with a customer in North Dakota recently, and they literally built in a curriculum for their own engineering staff based on knowledge transfer. So if the engineers within that customer organization wants to move up to the next level, they had to kind of follow this knowledge transfer and get different certifications that Extreme offers. And we can talk about that more in detail. Security. Obviously, in today's world, security is incredibly important. We can work with you and the customer on design to make sure that we are building secure networks. And then implementation. Implementation is obviously where partners love, where you guys love to work. Hey, if there's an implementation that you want to do, we can back out. If there's an implementation, again, that's on the West Coast and you're on the East Coast and it just doesn't make sense for you to go after, we can help you with that as well.
Hey, Alan, that was a fantastic overview of your services. Thank you so much for providing that for us today. One of the questions that came in on the Q&A that I thought might be beneficial for everybody is, so I'm going to ask if you could expand a little bit on the kind of the solution engineering site survey kind of pre-implementation services you guys offer.
Yes, with professional services, we can do site surveys, especially when you look at Wi-Fi. We can go in with the partner and use our expertise and our tools to help understand exactly what is going to be needed so that when you build the BOM, the bill of materials, we have the right solution to provide what the customer needs. So site surveys are something that partners do, and site surveys are actually a lot of times where professional services is engaged. I'll tell you one more thing about that. We also offer extreme service units, ESUs. And until I can come up with a better way of explaining it, it's almost like a gift card for professional services. So customers can prepay for their ESUs, and then as they need them down the road, use them. And a lot of times site surveys come into play.
Fantastic. One thing that just sitting here listening to you talk, I mean, even though I've been working hand in hand with you guys as the business manager for probably the last 18 months, it's fascinating every time I get to talk to someone new in the company, like yourself, for example. I learn something new all the time. One of the things that immediately stuck out to me was from a synergy perspective with D&H here is your approach to this, right? So I think kind of when we were discussing your webcast, I told you a little bit about our AIM model, right? Assess, implement, and manage. And I'm sure maybe many of the partners on the call today have sat through one of our webinars about that or are familiar with that. Your Extreme Networks approach to this is almost identical, right? And I think that's incredible that both of these approaches were developed separately, but yet they align so closely, right? And I think it speaks volumes for the effectiveness of that model, right? We feel that anytime a partner is just essentially selling the hardware, they're certainly leaving the potential to make some additional margin or minimally additional revenue and create stickiness with their customer on the table, right? We always propose, as you kind of covered, that there's always an opportunity for, here again, assessment, so like pre-sales engineering, the actual implementation of the solution, right? And then, as you mentioned, with some of the other support options, like the ongoing management of that solution. So very excited. Like I said, your overview aligns so closely with what we've been messaging out to our partner base for several years now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you'd be hard pressed to get us to say no. We're going to try to figure out a solution every time. Just some high level things that, about Extreme Networks. Multi-year contracts. You want a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year? We can do that. I mentioned Extreme Capital. People get real, hey, leasing. But guess what? I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Customers lease or use the flexible consumption model for services all day, every day. All the vendors do it. And it's because if you look at it, if you're talking to a CFO, they might have a CapEx or an OpEx need, and you'd be surprised. And those things change. 1 year it could be, hey, we just want to buy it. The next year it could be, hey, we want to lease it, or we want to use some type of finance option. And so it's important, whether it's working with us, or I know you guys do that as well at D&H. If a customer has a need, put it on our back to have us help figure out how to solve for that need.
Yeah, and I think you call out something interesting there. I mean, a lot of times, while obviously we want to focus on the technological and solutions involved in meeting the customer's needs and expectations, sometimes the financing elements and things of that are equally important, right? So, I mean, we know that as much as we don't always wish it was, budget is often a huge determining factor in any project, right? So,
it always is.
And that kind of brings up a great point too, just from some of the services engagements that we've done with your team. I will say that the Extreme team does an extremely fantastic job of trying to make sure that they right-size the services for what the actual need is, right? Not undersell or oversell, but make sure you really get that Goldilocks experience, both from making sure that you're respectful from a cost standpoint, but also meeting the expectations of the customer.
Yes, and I could talk about this all day long. I won't, for those that are looking at the clock. I'll say this, services, there used to be, hey, do you want fries with that? I can't even believe I'm using that analogy. Nowadays, that's not the case. I don't care if you're a small customer or a large enterprise customer. Networks are critical. In the enterprise space, the network goes down, you lose revenue. Healthcare, you potentially lose lives. And our partners know that as well as we do. The cool thing about services is it gives you an excuse to talk to the customer all the time. You sell a product, you kind of just wait for the customer to need a new product. But with services, you're constantly checking in, especially with premier services. Like I said, I kind of glazed over it a little bit just based on the amount of time we have, but we have formal quarterly business reviews. We also have informal bi-weekly reviews where we're meeting with the customer. And I tell you, when you're meeting with the customer constantly, there's always opportunities found. There's opportunities to sell more product, more services, more software. And to your point, stickiness, 95% renewal rate. that means our partners are locked in there with us, and we just continue to grow. You know, they say land and expand. That's how you do it. Services is the way to get into a customer and really land and expand. I've even
Yeah.
had, I'm sorry, I've had in these quarterly business reviews, I've had customers say, hey, one of the biggest values of Premier Services is that it lets us know what else is going on around the company. That's the customer telling us saying, hey, we're so siloed, we don't know what's going on in marketing or HR, but based on these reviews, we have an understanding of what the priorities are and how they're being addressed.
Yeah, and Alan, I think you bring up another great point that's specifically relevant to the type of products that your services are supporting, being networking, right? Connectivity like touches all facets of your IT experience anymore, right? Like there's no longer this concept of like a standalone IT solution, right? Everything is dependent on the network to interconnect, and not only if there's a problem there, does it highlight very strongly, it creates a downstream ripple effect across all facets of the IT environment, right? And to your point, it also is a good spot to probe and act as an indicator where there's perhaps challenges with adjacent products as well, right? That you kind of called out that sometimes it brings to light some of these additional opportunities for the resellers.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm talking and preaching to the choir, right? Everyone on this call understands how important networks are today. There used to be a time where a network could go down and you could still run your business. I'm almost willing to say that time is gone, right? We're all network managers. We all have networks in our own homes. And when those networks go down, the teenagers come flying out of their bedrooms, right? So when you look at the customers, I always tell customers when I'm talking about services, I said, if you don't understand the value, it's because I'm poorly presenting it to you, because it's there. And it's just our ability with the partners to really drive that importance and that value.
Yeah, 100%. And using your example of like a home environment, like obviously, yeah, like my 16-year-old will be very upset she can't get on Netflix. But as you mentioned in a commercial environment, on the lease side of it, you could be out revenue while you're down, right? But even on the most severe cases, as you mentioned with healthcare, I mean, there could be people's lives on the line as a result of that. So very good. One of the things I just wanted to make sure everyone was fully aware of, if anyone's interested in learning more, has a specific opportunity they'd like to discuss, they want to learn how to sign up and get started as an Extreme partner, if perhaps you're not one today, right? Obviously, myself, my team would be happy to support and talk to you specifically about the Extreme services offering and help you there. But honestly, anything related to any facet of Extreme Networks, we're here to support you with our partnership with Extreme through D&H, right? And we make it so simple for everybody, right? Literally, Extreme Networks at dnh.com is a great spot to get started. We have a dedicated support team here at D&H that will monitor that and respond to you very quickly, help you kind of navigate what the correct approach is, whether it's directing you to resources that are self-guided. If it perhaps is getting you in touch with an individual like Alan here, we can do that, right? So, like I said, I would encourage anyone that thinks that they might have an opportunity or would just even like to further this conversation to reach out to us, and we can make sure that we engage the right resources both here at D&H as well as our partners here at Extreme Networks. So, Alan, anything else to share with the attendees today before we wrap?
No, I just really appreciate the time, appreciate the partnership.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much. We appreciate you taking time out to join us today, both you, Alan, and likewise to all of our partners that joined us for the call today. And I hope everyone has a great day.